Or is it the air conditioner or?
You see Steve from Dr. Bill's side?
Mm-mm.
I don't know how, I just know that he did. I saw his obituary.
So I can give this guy a $500,000 PR bond.
This one for today, I would rather you not.
That's what this bond said. At.
Yeah, I saw that.
You want to know why?
Because he said, I'm surprised you didn't charge me with attempted murder, because I was gonna do it.
Yeah. All right. We have
He's not testifying, his mom is.
Carmel Cooper.
You already on?
No. Sheridan Lewis. That's who's online right now. Mullins on.
What's the bailiff guy, maybe the bigger guy?
Nelson?
Yes, did he come in here?
Yes.
Back there looking.
Still a little early. Mine's not making sounds. All bells on.
I was gonna say, I haven't heard any, but we already had people popping up there,
They're popping up, but I had to let them in the room.
but I usually even hear that.
Body's not on. Wonder if she's here.
Thank you. Agreed.
Body's on now.
We watched the Disney movie Elemental last night. Oh my God. It was adorable.
Is it animated?
Yes. It was precious. She's fire and it was water.
Oh, that's the name.
It was so cute. You did shut the door back, right?
I didn't.
Back the office door?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the heater?
One of those guys that's working on the room. He's dressed nice, but sweating his ass off.
Yeah.
Man, it's pretty hard work.
Sorry, it's fun. I just. Well, they're, over there working. So, normally it doesn't matter, it's just. You.
I think we have everybody. See, we're
Hopefully
just
they can hear you.
missing, we're missing, what's her name? Kathy. Still a couple minutes early.
Let the jail know that wrench was canceled, so if they ask which one, there should only be Burns for you to hear today.
Should only be one.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're good. Ready? Admit all. But I bet you're right. Where are my sounds turned way down? Oop. Yeah, I can't hear anything. I don't know. I don't really want to.
Judge, I don't think there's anybody talking now.
Yeah, I can't hear y'all. I have to, there's something wrong with my little computer here. Let me see if I can turn it up a little bit. No, that's not gonna work. Oh, I know why. Had the headphones on. I think we're good now. All right. This is Caleb Burns, and I do have a copy of the mental health assessment. I'll consider that for the purpose of this hearing. Did you want to call your client to testify?
No, Judge, but I do have his mother on the
Okay. Okay. And it's Charnel Cooper, is that right?
Yes,
Okay. If you would raise your right hand and be sworn. You swear or affirm testimony about to give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but truth, so help you God.
yes, I do.
All right, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Ma'am, can you please state your name?
Charnel Cooper.
And ma'am, you're Caleb's mother.
Yes,
And ma'am, you know why we're here today.
yes,
And I'm going to try to move kind of quickly just for the sake of kind of moving things along. But this is not the first bond hearing that we've had for your son. Is that right?
that's correct.
And what is your understanding of kind of the reason that we're back again for a second time?
When we first had our first bond hearing, the judge wanted us to kind of get Caleb reassessed. She felt that, he had been, when he had his evaluation the first time, it was a year ago. And so she wanted to get him reassessed. So we did that, and we now presenting the results from the psychologist that she what her reassessment and her results were.
Because he'd seen, I think, a nurse practitioner and some counselors previously, but the diagnoses were, I think, actually older than that, like a couple years old, right?
Right. Yes, that's correct.
And this was a pretty serious and pretty scary and pretty concerning probable cause affidavit presented in this case, right?
That's right.
And so the judge and the prosecutor and everybody rightfully had concerns that they wanted to make sure there were not new diagnoses or anything else going on with Caleb, right?
That's correct.
And similarly, you too wanted to know what, if anything, was going on with Caleb.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, so you worked with me and you ended up hiring Dr. Victoria Harvey, who has a bunch of letters after her name, and she has a background in criminal justice, and she's a psychologist. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and she interviewed you and Caleb and looked at a bunch of mental health and medical records and his records from the jail as well. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. And she recently completed a report, and that's what we've presented to the judge. I don't know if you know that, but I presented it to the judge. So, but you've reviewed that report, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Judge would move to admit that report. And I
Does-
have,
Does the state have a copy of it?
yes, Judge.
Do we have a copy?
I
Did you
emailed you one.
Okay, thank you.
Um,
I'm-
I'll admit it for the purpose of this hearing, and I do have a copy of it.
I'm sorry, Ms. Kraft, I emailed you one. I just filed this.
I see it right now. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And do you know, how long Caleb is in jail?
I'm sorry, you went in and out. Can you repeat the question?
No, I was getting an echo too. Do you know how long Caleb has been in jail?
It's been 5 months now.
Okay, so and to your knowledge, he's not received any antipsychotic medication. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And to your knowledge, he hasn't had any behavior issues in the jail. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you've visited him and been talking to him on the phone, things like that.
Yes.
Okay. In fact, the only thing that's been very alarming from the jail is that at some point during his time in the jail, he's received a diagnosis of HIV. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So you've had a chance to review these records or review the report from the doctor, and she's made several recommendations, and she's also had a chance to kind of, I would say, critique perhaps the treatment and efforts of treatment providers and even your family in the past. And some of the recommendations she's made, one of which is that he needs to see a doctor, a psychiatrist. Did you see that in the report?
I did, yes.
Have you made plans for him to see a psychiatrist if he's released from the jail?
Yes, I have. I've spoken to actually 2 psychiatrists, and they are supposed to get back with me today. We basically, if he's released, I would need to schedule a time with them to, make an appointment to see them.
But is it your understanding that can be done quickly enough to get him, immediately back on medication from the jail?
That's correct.
And he is insured currently, is that correct?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so we shouldn't have issues with continuing medication from the jail that he's on right now.
No, not.
Okay. Because previously he had been seeing, I think, a nurse practitioner, which is one of the doctor's criticisms up to this point, is that if there was a medicine issue, that was not easily addressed because she was not able to prescribe medication. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
And one of the medications that had been previously effective, you couldn't actually afford. Is that right?
That's correct. It was the Latuda that, they said with my insurance, it was going to cost me over $200, and I couldn't afford that.
And there wasn't a doctor he wasn't seeing a doctor who could make a substitution for that easily, right?
That's correct.
And so she said if he was seeing a doctor could make another recommendation.
That's right.
And
Yes,
it's important for him to see a doctor.
yes,
But you've made plans for him to see a doctor now.
that's correct.
Okay. Now she also said that he needs intensive outpatient. He needs to be doing some kind of intensive counseling. Is that right?
That's correct.
And what have you done to arrange that?
I have spoken to Carrollton Springs and spoke with them, and they said if he's released, we would just schedule a time to come up there immediately, and they will do another assessment with him. I would provide the assessment that the psychologist has provided me, but they would do their own assessment, and then we would start scheduling those times for the IOP. And I think it's 4 times a week from 9 to 12, or they have afternoon sessions as well.
Okay. Now that's pretty intensive. Do you have the means, or people in your family have the means to transport him back and forth to that?
Yes, I have, he has a grandmother and an aunt that are both retired, and they are able to transport him to and from.
I'm sorry. Now, similarly, you and your husband work, I assume, is that right?
That's correct.
So would there be people available to supervise him? And I'm sorry, would he be living with you at your house?
Yes.
And where is that located?
In Saxe, Texas, 6422 Meadowcrest.
Okay. Now, if you and your husband are working, would there be people available to supervise him when you're working?
Yes, my aunt is retired again, and my mother, she's also available as well.
Okay. And we've talked about, the nature of this offense. Again, he's just accused of it, and there's some question about, obviously we are still working through kind of, what's accused of him, but, there's obviously some concerns about him knowing the complaint. I mean, the people involved in this offense, and so it's likely if he were to get out, he would need some kind of electronic monitoring or similar condition. Is that something that, you would be willing to support him in and help him obtain and make sure he's compliant with?
Yes, absolutely.
He doesn't have a vehicle currently, is that right?
That's correct.
So, you're willing to make sure he's properly supervised and that he has transportation to really anything the court orders, and also really anything that is needed for his treatment right now.
Yes.
And that stands to be kind of a lot right now. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
But it's also what's needed, because the doctor has said that, here's the good news. He does not have these scary psychotic illnesses, right?
Yes.
Because if he did, they would have manifested in jail without psychotic drugs, antipsychotic drugs, right?
That's correct.
And so it looks like the experiment of him living on his own for right now was not successful, right?
That's correct.
And it looks like he needs supervision and socialization, which you guys can provide, right?
Yes.
It looks like he does need to get in a routine, which your family can provide. Is that right?
That's correct.
It looks like he needs to see a psychiatrist, which you guys can set up and actually help facilitate as well, right?
Yes.
You can monitor that he's taking his medication. Is that right?
Yes.
You can get him to his counseling. Is that right?
That's correct.
And he's been receptive to treatment in the past. Is that right?
Yes, he has.
And has he expressed a willingness to comply with treatment to you?
Yes, he has. He has expressed that.
Okay. And beyond that, I mean, he's never been in any kind of trouble before. Is that right?
He's never been in trouble before.
So, in addition to it being the doctor's opinion, is it also your opinion that if we follow her advice and do these things, do you believe that he can be stable and safe and do what he needs to do if he gets out of jail?
Yes, I believe so.
And you're telling the judge that you'll make sure he gets to court?
Yes.
and you'll make sure he does what the judge says he needs to do.
Yes.
And if there's ever a doubt in your mind that he's not stable or any kind of safety risk or anything like that, you will call the police or you will take him to a hospital,
Yes, absolutely.
because you absolutely don't want him to end up in this situation again. Is that right?
Correct.
And beyond that, just as a mother, you're very concerned about his health right now too.
Yes, I am.
Because this whole situation with the HIV scare and just everything else, I know that's been as pressing a concern for you as anything else going on. Is that right?
That's correct.
Is there anything else that you think that I missed on this? I know we've talked about a lot of things, trying to
No,
get my checklist here, but I've tried to hit everything you brought up, but okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Does the state have any questions?
No questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Do you have any other witnesses you wish to call?
No, Judge.
Does the state have anything else it wants to add?
No, Your Honor, like it was alluded to previously, he doesn't have any criminal history. We would just object due to the instant offense.
Yeah, based upon the offense, I think it's still a little, this is one of those cases that probably ought to be handled post adjudication. So I'm going to deny bond at this time. And I don't know if the case hasn't been filed yet.
Judge, it's been filed and indicted. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's the best way to handle it. I don't think this is the best type of case to have on one of our bonds, because it requires more of a intensive supervision. So I'm going to deny bond this time. Good luck. Thank y'all.